Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to Harnessing Your Wealth. We've got a wonderful show put together for you today. Young man who has really started a interesting business, and I think he'd be someone you could all kind of relate to if you're out there listening. It doesn't matter how old you are, but to kind of give you the American dream, somebody who decided to put a focus on something and decided, hey, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to do something that needs to be done, kind of find a void and fill that void and take that business into what we consider to be a very successful operation. Parker Neeley is our guest today, and I want to welcome him. He's only 28 years old, and he's already started a multi-million-dollar business. He started this about 7 years ago, I guess 2017, and it's called Dumpsters Direct, kind of a business that he felt like there was a need out there in the market and decided to take action. So I want to welcome him, and we're going to get his story. I think it's going to be one you want to listen to, pay attention to what it took for him and maybe what it takes to be successful in the business world. So welcome to the show, Parker.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. And tell us a little bit about Dumpsters Direct as a business and how you came up with that idea.
Yeah, so I was working for a boss at the time, and I was driving a dump truck. And the truck that he had for me blew up. And so he didn't have any work for me to do at the time. And so he would have me go to his job sites and pick up garbage all day long. And I'm like, man, I hate this job. This is the worst thing I could possibly do. And then I was like, he would have me throw the garbage into a dumpster. And I was like, oh man, I think I could do this, And anyways, I ended up quitting that job. And my parents have a metal fabrication business. And after hours there, I talked my dad into letting me build my own containers. And so I'd work the night shift after my job and I'd start building containers to be able to eventually rent out. So yeah, started.
How big are these containers you were building?
Yeah, so they're usually our most popular size is 23 feet long. So they're pretty large. They're about the size of a truck.
Wow. And then you just load them up on the back of a flatbed trailer and haul them around?
Yeah, so that's where the story kind of begins, right? I was like, oh, this is going to be easy. Well, I was wrong. Everything about this business is so difficult. I was like, oh man, I'm just going to pick the trash up, throw it away. It was absolutely opposite. So first dumpster I ever rented out, I was like, heck yeah, I finally got one rented. Well, that's not the case. They filled it up with rocks and concrete and dirt. And I had a trailer set up for the back of my dually truck that I purchased. And the very first dumpster that I pulled onto the truck, it blew up completely. Like it ruined the motor, broke the trailer. And I was like, okay, I got to figure something out here. And so it kind of snowballed in. And then I was looking for a semi immediately because I'm like, okay, I have a little bit of money. A normal semi costs around $250,000 per semi. And I don't have anywhere close to that. So I was calling on basically KSL for semis, and I was calling this guy on a really cool one, and it was listed for $300,000. I said, hey, I know this one's $300,000, but I have $10,000. And he's like,
will you take 10?
Yeah, we take 10,000, and then he starts just laughing. I'm like, okay, this is crazy. He takes down my number and he laughs. He's like, yeah, I'll call you if this ever comes through. I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out because I only have $10,000. And he calls me back 2 days later and he's like, hey, the truck that you called on, the person purchasing that truck, they have an extra truck and he'll sell it to you for like 15. I was like, okay, perfect. So I call him up and get him on the phone, and somehow I swindle him down to 10,000 because I'm like, hey, dude, this is the money I got from doing 4-H. It's in a CD. I have to pull it out of my CD. I only have $10,000. And I fly to California to pick it up. He picks me up from the airport, drives me back over, totally hooks me up. And we still talk today. I write him letters, but I'd get in the truck and I drive it back. I drive it from Arizona back, and the air conditioning doesn't have any air conditioning. So I take my shirt off and I'm just driving it through the desert. Like this is crazy. And it doesn't even have a cigarette lighter at this point. So my phone dies in the middle of the desert. And I'm like, if this truck breaks, I'm going to die out here. I'm going to die in the middle of the desert. And so what I was kind of getting at there is, at that time, I'm sure my parents could have wrote me a check for, the semi, but they know that, through hard situations and problem solving is where you learn all of your expertise. And that's why I wanted to figure out on my own, because I get the semi. I can't afford a hotel to stay in. I can't even fill it up because I don't even have any money. So I sleep in the truck and I got home, and then that just kind of where it began. So getting that first semi is where like my business, I'm like, I have no other options. This is all I have. And, plan B is I can go get a job on base, but I got to make this work right now. So.
And for those of you listening out there, on base means Hill Air Force Base here locally. That's the local kind of spot where a lot of folks work. And it's kind of a fallback, I think, in some cases for people because they hire quite a bit. What the story he just shared is pretty fascinating for me because it shows the resilience, overcoming his first truck broke down, but he didn't give up and he kind of put that out there in the universe. This is what I have. This is the money I have. This is what I need to make this job, this business start. This is I want to create it. And it started to develop for you. And I've heard those kind of stories so often from people who just had a dream or a vision and they just refused to stop and just kind of put that energy out there in the universe and then watch things develop. It's how you manifest miracles, I call it. Tell me about that truck. Are you still using it or have you replaced it now?
Yeah, I definitely replaced it. It was not very nice, but it got the ball rolling, where I was able to actually like start figuring things out and how to do it and where to go. And, and then I got into the whole employees and insurance and semi, like the whole aspect of that. And it just, the more problems just started flowing in.
You learned as you went, right? You just dealt with them as they came.
Absolutely.
How'd you market your business or get your name out there?
Honestly, I just go talk to everybody. I just kind of go on the flow and, shoot my shot. So,
like construction companies, general contractors.
Yeah. I mean, the internet sometimes works, but people use somebody that they can trust, and we just try to be the very best of what we can do. There's a lot of people out there that focus on other things in the market. And we just want to be the very best at what we do. So, and then that's just kind of people call us back. We just try to keep one customer happy at all times.
Nice.
Referrals, people that just start using you. And then
absolutely. I hear a lot of people say like, oh man, I don't want to work for any of my friends. And I'm like, that's weird. That's the only people I work for. If somebody calls you, like most of the time it's somebody that and you just try to take care of them the very best that you can.
All right. So. It's a good way to build your business as long as, you don't do the bad job.
Yeah, you can't be shady or snaky because if not, they won't use you and
you destroy their friendship too.
Absolutely.
So now that you're 7 years into this business, tell us what it's gone from. You had one dumpster, whatever, one truck. Where are you at now?
Yeah, we have a lot, but never enough, I guess. So we run quite a bit of cans and trucks every day. But it's not easy by any means. If anybody was looking to get into this, I would absolutely not. I would say, hey, go start an insurance business because you need a pencil and some dress shoes. This is some next level stuff. People fall, get hurt. Call in. The trucks break every day. People ruin your equipment. Like I remember last week we dropped off a brand new container to a job site. I came back, someone stabbed a forklift straight through the side of it, and I was like, that's a $10,000 dumpster and it just got destroyed in one rental. So it's very hard in that aspect because, some people just don't take care of your equipment like you would. So, Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine that's to be the case with a lot of people who own equipment. What's the process of dealing with that? Do you have insurance? And
yeah, so we do have insurance on everything. And the process is most of the time we send them a bill, but most of the time people don't want to pay it because they're like, hey, this doesn't happen here. So, we got to have those hard conversations like, hey, you overloaded this thing with rocks and bricks and now we can't pick it up because it's so heavy. And then you get to the dump and the dump fee's $1,000 and then they're like, won't pay it. And so you're like, well, I didn't load it. So there's a lot of hard conversations there. So you got to have your ducks in a row beforehand.
Wow. Do you just use a winch on these semis? To
yeah. So they have big cables that are like half-inch big. So they'll pull on the dumpsters. So
gotcha. Interesting stuff. What about your future plans for this thing? Are you going to just keep grinding away and try to grow it or try to sell it? Do you have anything in mind?
Yeah. So right now I'm definitely in the growth phase. Every week we're definitely growing, and I think I'll just grow until I don't enjoy it anymore. Right now I really love it, and solving those hard problems is something that I still enjoy. So the day that I come in and I'm just like, I hate this, is I think the day that I'll move on to something else. But right now I do enjoy it.
What's the most challenging part of your business right now?
Yeah. So I'd probably say keeping customers happy, because like, for instance, I had a lady text me last night at 3:30 in the morning trying to get a container. I'm like, okay, there's got to be a little bit of a barrier there. But I would say the trucks, doesn't matter what you buy, they break every day. People getting wrecks every day. Not necessarily my people, but driving is a very scary aspect to a lot of people, just because there's a lot of crazy people out there. So I would say keeping trucks moving, employees, people paying their bills, all sorts of. I mean, I don't know if I can narrow it down to one thing. There's so many problems every day.
Dealing with the constant problems that come up day-to-day basis.
I would say so.
We deal with a lot of business owners here, and it's fascinating to me to listen to their stories of going from themselves, a concept even, to growing and adding. And so where are you at now with number of employees who work for you?
Yeah, I've got quite a few employees at the moment. But I would say the most challenging part is keeping everyone happy.
Yeah.
But
people are diverse.
Luckily, we have a good dynamic at our office, and people really enjoy being there.
So you have an office staff, and then you have your truck drivers.
Yeah.
And so laborers or mechanics or whatever else.
Yeah, we don't have any mechanics at the moment, but if you're watching this, we're looking to hire one. So.
Okay.
Looking for a
We'll find you one.
Yeah.
Get in touch.
We'll find you one. You grew up in a family that owns a business, multiple businesses, from what I understand. So is that kind of ingrained in you as a kid to, have your own autonomy and be your own boss?
Absolutely. Yeah. From a young age, my dad started his welding business when he was right outside of high school. And he worked in his parents' garage until his dad kicked him out, and he had to move to his grandma's garage to start welding up railing and stuff. And ever since a young age, I was like, man, this is what I want to do. I want to be the one that makes the decisions. And so after watching my parents grow it and build it into what it is today, I just knew that I had to. For what I wanted and the lifestyle that I needed. I feel like I had to. It didn't matter if it was going to be dumpsters or, it could have been anything, honestly. So
just whatever came to you at the time.
The fact I just liked big semis and trucks at the time, that's what I wanted to pursue.
Right.
So. I feel like some people that are really successful, like your parents, their kids either grow up and they're super entitled and they don't work hard, or it's like you, where you start your own business and you're really independent.
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is there?
Yeah, honestly, I think growing up. So, for instance, I don't know if you guys heard of like West Haven Days, but it's kind of like South Weaver Days, but like fireworks and shows and everything. My mom would take us to that, and instead of just sitting us down and letting us watch the fireworks, she would pre-buy glow sticks, and she would make us go out and sell them to try to sell them to each person in the crowd. So from a young age, she didn't let us sit and watch the fireworks show. We were selling glow sticks to try to make money. And then, that kind of evolved to Tony's Pizzas. And that's how I got my first bicycle. And then after that, we started doing 4-H. And that's how, I got the money into a CD to be able to grow it, to buy the equipment I needed for my business. And so she's always taught us from a young age that you take the money that you have and you try to put it into something else that makes money versus buying a brand new toy or a boat or, things that depreciate and don't make you money long term. So
do you kind of look at those lessons in life from your parents who didn't give you everything you wanted and just set you up as what made the difference?
I would say so. Yeah, 100%. My parents definitely made us work hard for what we got. And
those are the stories that I think are refreshing to hear, versus just watching some kids who fail time and time again, or who have no motivation to continue on when things get tough because they haven't ever had to work for it.
Yeah.
That's the old saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. It took 1 generation to build it, 2nd generation to kind of watch it, and the 3rd generation to blow it.
Yeah.
So you're back to 0.
Heard that a lot, actually. So
as far as the economy, current environment that when you started in 2017, we got into COVID, and then we had some pretty crazy inflation. So how did that impact your business?
Yeah. So COVID was weird for us because a lot of people were at home not doing anything. So a lot of people were renting dumpsters at that time. But versus now, it is different just because the interest rates are so much higher. So a lot more people are hesitating on building their brand new home or that apartment complex. So there is people out there doing it. I don't know if it's just because they're using the capital that they already have instead of financing it. But That has definitely changed over the years because people are a little more hesitant versus building that brand new home. They're kind of remodeling what they have. So it's just kind of like a trade-off. People aren't usually doing new construction as much, and now it's more like, let's fix what we got and we'll stay where we are. So it's been a total shift from COVID till now.
Have you had to raise your prices to offset inflation?
Yeah, for sure. Especially fuel. That's been a huge one for us the last couple of years. The fuel prices, and then all of our landfills and transfer stations have all raised their rates. So it's been tough. A couple of jobs that we have to keep our pricing secure over a couple of years. We've had to go in there and renegotiate that because things do change. Mm-hmm. So
what would you say your smartest financial decision you ever made?
Yeah. So I can't narrow it down to one exactly. I don't have any super big home runs. If I did, I'd probably be on an island somewhere at the moment.
Right.
But I would just say taking what I have and turning it into something better. So for instance of, putting off my short-term gain for long-term wealth. So for instance of, instead of buying that brand new toy at this moment, put it into real estate or something that will appreciate instead of depreciate.
Right.
Betting on yourself too with the business. That's
absolutely.
A big one.
Absolutely.
You mentioned that you wouldn't really recommend someone getting into your particular field.
For sure.
But if someone wanted to start their own business of anything, what would you recommend? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, honestly, I would say you have nothing to lose at the moment. It's a little more difficult when you have a family and kids, but I would say give it your best shot because there's no one that's going to come save you. The only person that is in control of that is you. So I would honestly just shoot for the moon. You might end up in the stars, So
yeah, that's awesome. I like that advice. Too many people, I think, fall back on being unwilling to take that risk or not believing in themselves and never know where they could have gone or play victim card or rely on handout. But your story is pretty, I think, powerful, especially for any young listeners out there who are thinking about, what would it take for me to own a business and what would it look like? Could I do it? Can I be successful? And, there's young business owners starting up every single day, just with nothing more than a thought and a vision and trying to take a stab at being successful in that field. So I think it's very refreshing to hear somebody like yourself who's young and who has some motivation, but also from the standpoint of your parents. So if they're listening, I want to say you did a dang good job, this kid. And I think more parents need to raise their kids to be responsible and to learn to earn what they get. Mm-hmm. That's our motto here. So Parker, how would anyone reach out and get a hold of you if they had a job and they needed your assistance?
Yeah, you can email us or give us a call. Our business name is Dumpsters Direct. We're in Ogden. We service any commercial job sites, houses, remodels. If you got garbage, we'll haul it. So, yeah.
If you're listening, we'll drop Parker's information below. So get in touch with him if you want to.
Thanks for being on the show, Parker.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Congratulations and good luck in the future.
Appreciate it.
You're going to do big things. Okay?
Hope so.
All right, man.
Thank you for listening to Harnessing Your Wealth with Billy Peterson. Before we declare the race official, please click the follow button so you can be notified when new episodes become available. For more information about today's show, please check out the show notes. Visit our website at www.petersonws.com or give us a call at 801-475-4002. Once again, thank you for listening. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Peterson Wealth Services. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.